Joel Poynton. I'm with the Electric Transportation Program for San Diego Gas and Electric. We put the in Southern California.
And they only have 2,500 people, too. Oh, sorry.
It's paradise, though. We've worked extensively with General Motors, Nissan, Toyota, and also with BMW. And we look forward to developing a relationship with Ford and Coda. One of the major concerns of utilities, 80 to 90% of charging will occur at home. Those charging entities are going to be connected to neighborhood transformers. Clustering effects within neighborhoods are going to have significant impact on the longevity and the life of those transformers. My major concern is, how are the automakers going to ensure that the over 3,000 utilities in the United States are notified appropriately of where these vehicles are connecting?
Well, I can start with that. I mean, we look forward to working with you as well. One of the things that we're doing, obviously as a small company, we haven't been as quick to engage with utilities like yourself and others just because of resources and manpower. That being said, we have started a program where we are reaching out to utilities. To give you an idea, our launch market, our initial market is California. So obviously the number of utilities that we need to reach out to is a lot less than some of the larger manufacturers that are going 50 state earlier. But our goal really is to start engaging and developing relationships now. So if you haven't heard from us, then I should talk to you after this and make sure that we connect. But what we'd like to do is we'd like to leave the line of communication open. We've talked to folks here locally, DWP, Southern California Edison, and our goal really is to just keep a line of communication open so that you know how many orders that we have in certain areas and really what to expect, and hopefully to avoid that clustering that you mentioned, at least as much as that we can do. So.
Yeah, and I can. There we go. So from the BMW side, you know, we are still in the limited distribution field test. So we have relatively smaller numbers of utilities to work with. Moving forward, you know, our plan is to grow it as a new interaction method within the company. The question arose earlier, you know, how does this change your interaction with the customers? When we sell a gas car, we don't have to call Chevron and let them know that someone's coming over to fill up a gas and make sure they have the right nozzle and everything. So it is a relatively new field for us. And I think that the happy occurrence is that it's one we're focusing on. It's one we've reached out to you guys and had good interactions with all of the utilities in the areas we're coming to. And when we bring the full volume car in 2013, we will have it as an internal part of the company, as a person who's responsible to work with the utilities to let them know about locations.
I think, Joel, you really touched on the point of like why we're working together, and one of the issues that we need to work through is the EV community. And the Nissan short-term goal is on the order screen. When you order your car, there will be kind of a box to give you the option to share your address information with the utility for service planning purposes specifically. And then I think the longer term goal is things like the PEV Collaborative is doing, and really looking at, okay, what happens once if this online ordering process grows to a much larger market and there's third-party sales, like looking at kind of new ways to try and capture that information in the future.
And Joel, thank you. We look forward to continuing to work with you as well. Part of this demonstration program is to understand when people are plugging in. Of course, Toyota has a different strategy with our plug-in vehicle and with our small electric vehicle. We have a smaller battery approach for efficiency purposes. Well, it takes 3 hours to fully charge the plug-in vehicle if it's fully depleted, an hour and a half if it's on 220. So we'll be able to test these different neighborhoods and understand what kind of an impact it is having. I know one of the things that Joel and I have talked about before is we participated in a study at Stanford, and it is amazing how impactful it is when different neighborhoods see a car in a driveway, and how many people in that neighborhood start to aspire to own the same vehicle. And so your concern is very real. It is very likely, we saw that happen with Prius. It's very likely that it will happen also with the EVs and the plug-ins as they come to market, where we'll have a neighborhood demand on the system.
And Joel, just want to add one thing, because I think there's a piece where people in this room might be able to help out in general. So like Nissan, obviously we have an opt-in gate. We actually, after that first opt-in gate, we believe that we'll work through essentially a phone call with the utility and our third-party service provider, trying to capture most of those before somebody gets a vehicle. Another idea that's been sitting on the table, and you've certainly been a part of that discussion, is when somebody pulls a permit to actually put in a 240-volt EVSE, is there a way that a city can help notify the utility at the same time? So that's one of the ideas we're exploring. And as Russell said, how do we make a scalable solution that fits everybody in this room? And so one idea, some of you who are sort of out there, the inspectors, building safety folks, you might hear or you might want to think about is, how can you participate in making sure the customer makes sure the utility is notified?
Okay, great. Okay, we'll take one more question. Thanks, Joel. Thanks, everybody.
Hi, Mitya Hindux with Letus. The first question is for Alex. How heavy is the battery pack, and is there still a separate battery for the lights, horn, and spark plugs, or have those functions been integrated into the main battery pack? The second question is, are the manufacturers starting to get a handle on what the greenhouse gas equivalent is, taking a broad mixture of utilities in terms of miles per gallon when you drive an electric mode? In other words, what percentage, by what percentage are greenhouse gas reductions reduced driving electric versus to driving with a gasoline engine?
I'll answer the second question. If you'll go online to the Electric Power Research Institute, and there's a study that was done by EPRI and the Natural Resource Defense Council that looked at that issue very extensively and has been quoted, reviewed, peer-reviewed across the country. Go there, you'll get the answer to your second question. It's a very detailed response, looking nationwide at the different utility mixes of generation mixes, looking at the utilities today, where they are in reducing emissions, what they will be in the future. And it does take a lot of serious discussion about locations that have predominant coal versus what we have in California. So I think you'll get the answer to that question in some detail. The bottom line is that you will reduce carbon by plugging in virtually everywhere in the country, much greater in Los Angeles or in California than you would in Ohio, but at the end of the day, it's still beneficial to all. Now the other question on battery weight and whether or not the battery is used to cut for lights, et cetera.
Just to add to what you said, is greenhouse gas emissions are directly attributable to, you could make a number of miles per gallon, right? Miles per gallon, the efficiency of the vehicle. So everybody's MPG, if you will, is going to be different. So whoever drives completely on electric only will certainly answer that. Let's go offline on the weight. I think that might be saving time, but there is a separate 12 volt. The battery is, I believe, about 800 pounds, but we'll talk offline. I don't want to dominate. We got a long day.
Okay, thank you very much, panel. And I think, David, we're going to do a 30-second coffee break or something like that. Thank you very much. I think you did demonstrate very clearly that the vehicles are coming. Thank you all.